Brandon, it's great to be back, not only on your show, but it's great to be back home. I'm already home in Memphis. We were in Dayton, Ohio last night for Monday Night Raw. I just want to ask you real quick, did you happen to catch any of the show?
Oh, yeah, watching the whole thing.
What happened? I still can't figure out what happened when Titus O'Neil and Darren Young came out to do guest commentary with us.
Uh-huh.
And I said something about Darren Young is always messing with his hair and he's got that little pick that he's always keeping his hair all fluffed out there and everything. And I think Michael Cole said something to him about, why do you keep messing with your hair? And he said, because if your hair is nappy, ain't nobody happy. And I thought that was funny. That was a good line. And so then I looked at Titus O'Neil, who, of course, is bald-headed, and I said, Titus, what do you comb your hair with, a wash rag? And suddenly this big I don't know what you would call it, this big brouhaha erupted over the word wash rag. It was like nobody had ever heard the word wash rag before, And
they're saying it's a Southern thing, right?
Yeah, of course it's a Southern. I guess it's a Southern thing. I don't know. I heard it all my life growing up. That's what we use in our house. Wash rags.
See, we did the same thing. I don't know what you call it.
Washcloth.
This thing.
Is that it?
Oh,
yeah, washcloth. Apparently, it's a washcloth. And so, but yeah, they just they went nuts over that. And that thing, I mean, my Twitter account just blew up. I literally had 1,000 people that sent tweets just laughing. They said it was like the funniest thing they'd ever heard on Monday Night Raw, the word wash rag, and it was amazing.
But anyway, so I mean.
No, it is.
But if we think about, your life in the last few weeks and think about even 2 weeks ago, we talked to you, you'd been relaxing, you had enjoyed your time at home a little bit and your recovery time. And all of a sudden, man, when you went back full force.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the only way, I thought the only way you could make that kind of a comeback. And quite honest with you, it's been 9 weeks, which a lot of people doesn't seem, that they're just saying that's not long enough. That's too short a time.
Right.
But to me, it felt like an eternity. I couldn't wait to get back there, and I was just chomping at the bit. So, yeah, the pay-per-view that we did Sunday night of Survivor Series, JBL was out there along with me and Cole, and oh my gosh, it was like the most fun. It was just we just had a great time, and it was just one funny line after another. To me, that's a little more entertaining. I mean, I just really like to have a good time out there and hopefully help the people that are sitting at home, find it more entertaining.
So really 2 weeks with a lot of talk of the King on Raw, especially, your return and all the stuff that happened that night. And the world of the internet and the internet wrestling fan was going nuts with the idea of CM Punk and Paul Heyman. And I don't think you've really commented on that publicly as much off of the show. What are you thinking about all that and the drama that stirred?
Well, I mean, let's face it. If you watch Memphis wrestling for the 40 years that I was on there every single week, that pales in comparison to some of the things that we've done on Memphis wrestling. And quite frankly, even though he's disgusting, and I never could, I said the same thing about him that I said about Andy Kaufman. I couldn't warm up to him if we were cremated together. This Paul Heyman guy, he's just, he said something last night that basically was true. I mean, he told the fans who were booing him and CM Punk, he said, "Hey, you people claim you want to go back to the Attitude Era. Well, last week we gave you a little bit of attitude, and you didn't like it. You complained about it." And he said, every time I go into an arena, people shout, ECW, ECW. And he said, last week we did something that was extreme, and you didn't like it. You complained about it. So, I mean, it's true. It's just I was not shocked by it. I was really, quite frankly, I was a little bit shocked by the response from the fans. In other words, I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything less from those two creeps. But the fans were just flabbergasted that someone would, feign a heart attack in front of somebody that had actually had a heart attack. I did think that, I actually, as when he started doing it, I thought he was going to just go overboard and do like the Fred Sanford type, Elizabeth, I'm having a big one. And that would have been kind of funny. And but he made it so serious that a lot of people were upset about it. I read a blog that Jerry Jarrett, my longtime partner, the Memphis promoter here in Memphis, he was really upset about it, and a lot of fans were. They got a lot of negative feedback on that. And hey, you just blame that. That was totally the idea of Paul Heyman and CM Punk. They just thought that was a way to make them as more despicable, and I guess it really, in a way, it worked.
I think it did. And now we've got a lot of other stuff going on. I know that you've been on the road and people have been coming to you. It really seems like you've been super busy. And later today, Inside Edition, which is seen all across the country, they're doing a feature on you and the heart attack and the recovery.
Yeah, last week they came down to Memphis with their film crews and came to my house, and they flew down Dr. Mike Sampson, who was the guy that literally saved my life. He's the WWE company doctor, and they flew him in, and so we sat down with the Inside Edition people and did hours and hours of an interview that will probably be squeezed down into 3 or 4 minutes or less. But anyway, I think it'll be pretty informative for anybody that wants to know any more about what took place there, and Dr. Sampson did a great interview with him, and so it should be pretty interesting. And yeah, you're right. It's Inside Edition. In Memphis, Channel 3. It airs, I think, at 3:00 this afternoon.
And same time in this area as well. So 3:00 on Channel 3. And then Lori's all excited because today is Joel McHale's birthday, and I told her that you had the chance to go to E in the studios and shoot an episode of The Soup, which actually airs tomorrow.
Yes, and that was a lot of fun. Joel, it was my first time. I've been a big fan of his, but first time to actually meet him and to find out that this guy, he's like I would have to maybe categorize him as a closet wrestling fan. He doesn't let everybody know it, but he knew too much about me and about the business to not be, to not be a fan. He's watching when people don't think he's watching. But it was a lot of fun. The show, The Soup, is one of my favorite shows, and it's like it saves you from having to sit through an entire 30 minutes of watching Honey Boo Boo when you can just tune into The Soup and see the 2 or 3 seconds of the really good part of the show. But that's what I love about The Soup. You get to get the best of all of these crazy shows that are out there. So yeah, we had an entire show dedicated to WWE, and we got to go out and be there with Joel, and it's pretty entertaining.
So Lori has this, I think it's like a slight little schoolgirl crush on Joel McHale. She tries to tweet at him, and he won't respond. So I think she wanted to hit you with a couple of Joel McHale questions.
Yeah, what I want to know, I love the show. I love The Soup. But what I love about it is he's so sarcastic, funny on the show. Is he like that off air, off camera?
Well, it was fun to watch because the show, of course, is entirely scripted. Mm-hmm. All he basically is doing is reading off a teleprompter as he stands there looking, and that was what we were saying. So, man, we would love to have the luxury of teleprompters in the WWE. It really makes things easy. But yeah, he's really quick-witted, and he has a studio audience there of probably maybe about 50 to 60 people, which is small by most show standards. But it's in the NBC-owned E Network studios, and the studio that they shoot his show in is very small itself. So, but that size audience really works well. And hey, between takes or between if he flubs a take or something like that, he'll always have some kind of funny comment or something. He was halfway through one of his lines, and suddenly he stepped on or stumbled on some words, and he just stopped. And of course the director says, "Okay, hang on, we're going to do that again." And he's just standing there with his head down, and he stood there for about 15 seconds. Then he looked up to the crowd and said, "Anybody in here on heroin?" So he's just he's a neat guy. He's a funny guy, and he's got the skinniest legs I've ever seen on a man.
Oh no!
Isn't he really tall?
He's tall, and he wears those little tight, skinny jeans, skinny pants.
Oh no!
Yes, and he had on a suit with skinny pants, and then he's had some white Adidas tennis shoes or jogging shoes or something on. This didn't look right with the suit.
This makes me think of one of my favorite stories of you, and you've made so many wisecracks on people, but We're at the Louisville Gardens, 1995. I came in thinking I looked good. I had my long hair and some lame outfit on, and you looked at me and said, Brandon, you could be on the cover of GQ. And I kind of puffed my chest up, thinking, yeah, he thinks I look good today. What's the line after that? Do you remember it?
I do not.
The line was, yeah, Geeks Quarterly. And totally deflated me right there on the spot.
Geeks Quarterly, oh, Lord.
And then we have Car Today this weekend, which is coming up on Saturday.
Yes, we do. I'm excited. Hey, I'm going to be coming from Memphis all the way over right after Thanksgiving. We're going to be over there in Jonesboro live and in person. Grandmaster Sexy is going to be on hand, and all our friends at Car Today. And we want to invite everybody to come by. And this is your first chance to actually get to see me in person after the ordeal. So come on by. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody and shaking hands. I love it when people come up and say, man, it's really good to see you. And I always say, it's good to be seen it's good to be seen rather than be viewed. So come on out and have it. It may be your last chance to get to see the King.
Oh, don't say that. Anyway, 11 to 1 coming up on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Bye.